Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia, and I'd like to share this sentiment of metta, loving kindness, for our practice today. This one reads, may you hold the stories of your experiences with reverence and awe. May you hold the stories of your experiences with reverence and awe. If you have a mind anything like mine, there's a personality, an archetype, some voice, some inner critic that's so quick in my mind to erupt with, wait a second, what about all those experiences in my life that were super shitty, like just dumpster fire, no fun? How am I supposed to treat that with reverence and awe? Valid question. And so how I answer that voice is I tell myself, Julia, darling, you don't have to stare so intently on the singular experience. There are many experiences associated with that one terrible one. One of those experiences that is indirectly and yet totally directly related to that one awful experience that you're thinking about is that you survived it. Amazing. That is worth reverence and awe. I endured. I cultivated some resilience. Sure, it was messy and wobbly, but I nevertheless am here today to talk about it. And that is worth reverence and awe. Welcome to your practice. This evening, I'd like to share with you one of my favorite styles of meditation, and it's called elemental meditation. And I'd like to partner elemental meditation with the 4 aspects of the Noble Eightfold Path that we've been studying. And I'd also like to bring in a mantra of metta, loving kindness. So this is going to be a little bit like a metta practice. And you can read about the metta practices all over the place, including in the Recovery Dharma book. But this is how metta, loving kindness, which is normally offered to other people, I'd like to offer it today in a new way. This is how it comes alive in me. And that is my relationship to the elements of life: earth, air, fire, water, mystery. My entire being is dependent upon these elements, and so is every other life form that ever was and shall ever be. So in that spirit, I can tap into the extraordinary interconnectedness, the extraordinary interbeing, as Thich Nhat Hanh liked to teach, of me, of you, of us, and of everything around us. So I'd like to bring you on a little reflection. And all I want to do is bring forward the element of earth and allow your body to breathe and allow your body to speak the language of the earth, whatever that is for you. It is a language for your ears, heart, and mind only. Your body, this clay vessel, is intimately connected to the earth. The earth itself, when you contemplate the earth, what arises for you? For me, earthworms and red wigglers immediately come forward. I love them. Their capacity to create pores in the most gnarly earth, the most nutrient deprived soil. If you invite worms in there and a little bit more matter, they will transform that soil by being themselves. They create pathways in the soil so that all kinds of other creatures, bacteria, water, nutrients, minerals can flow. And they also filter soil through their bodies, filter food through their bodies. And what they excrete feeds the soil. Worm poop is such good poop. And that's an amazing thing for me to think about when I think about shitty mistakes I've made, shitty situations, and so on. How can I look at those shitty situations like good shit for good soil? So when I contemplate the earth and I think about worms, that's what they guide me toward. All earth beings, in whatever form you take, may you be at ease and peace. I, as an earth being, may I be at ease and at peace. Repeat that quietly to yourself for a moment. The next element is air. And when I think about this element, I often think about my own breathing. But today I'd like to invite a more open and creative perspective on air. And I would encourage you to listen to the way the wind applauds in your presence. If you've spent any time with big ponderosa pine trees and the wind comes through, you will hear its applause. Likewise, if you spend any time with cottonwood trees or aspens when they quake in the wind, they too applaud with delight. They can't contain themselves. What does the element of air have to say to you? For me, the element of air is an invitation to be silent. And the greatest teacher in my life for silence, ironically, is the owl. Owls are completely quiet when they fly. They appear. And yet when they hoot, when they call, the way they puncture the air is haunting and melodious, and it always causes me to stop and pause and listen. Invite your mind in a gentle and encouraging way to be quiet so that you can listen to the sounds riding the silence of air. To all the beings dependent upon air, may you be at ease and at peace. I, as an air being, may I be at ease and at peace. The element of fire. When you think of fire, what arises in your imaginative gaze? For me, what's coming alive for me when I think about fire is the word radiance. And oddly enough, the image that came forward was the moon. And the sun's radiance reflects upon the moon based on its orbital relationship. And we get to see the moon in various phases. And so that just invites me to think about how my own radiance reflects in the world. And it begs me to ask, how do I want that radiance to reflect in the world? The phases of the moon remind me of impermanence. There are times where my radiance is bright and full, and times where it's barely a sliver. And can I give myself that leniency and that permission to have phases in my radiance? How does fire want to shine in you? May all living beings receiving the radiance of fire, the sun, for instance, be at ease and at peace. May I connect with this life-giving star. May its radiance reflect on me, and may my radiance reflect outward. And may I have ease and peace. The element of water, life-sustaining, a force, depth, fluidity, flow. These are some words that arise in my mind when I think of water. I also think of the word current and resistance. Water is an extraordinary teacher. We are profoundly connected to the seas of the earth. We have evolved from its primordial soup, inching our way onto the earth and into the air, warming by the sun, leaving behind the womb. Water is an invitation to explore restoration. For me, this element is all about taking care of the body, hydrating the body, taking care of my skin, taking my body for a walk out in beauty. Water is also a place where I learn balance. What is the language of water? alive in you. To all beings profoundly dependent upon and connected to the water element, may you be at ease and at peace. I, as a water being, may I be at ease and at peace. We come to the fifth element, which is mystery. It isn't one that is talked about often, except if you practice with me, because I talk about it all the time. I love it. And it is the center. It is where all elements connect and from which all elements extend. Mystery. I am and you are a manifestation, an expression of this divine mystery. And so the invitation of this element is to sit or stand very still upon the earth, the place where this evolutionary magic has birthed us all, under the watchful gaze of the cosmos. A tumultuous, violent place is the cosmos. And yet, by a sequence of events over billions of years, we have come to be. And it is so very precious. It is so rare. The Milky Way, our galaxy, has 400 billion suns. Untold number of planets out there. And so far, this one has the conditions for this life, this consciousness embodied in me and in you. And that means something. What that meaning is personal. But I can promise you what this meaning isn't is the lump sum of all the mistakes you've ever made in your life. All the lump sum of all the shitty things I've done in my life. It's so much more than that. That's why we stand and gaze at the cosmos. We are so small and so infinite at the same time. To stand in the presence of mystery is to recognize your ancestors. All those who came before you, before humans were even here, creating the evolutionary foundation for your being in this moment, and for all your ancestors to come. And maybe your family ends with you. Maybe that DNA connection ends. But your impression does not. The way you have touched people and healed people, the way you've loved your pets, that energy lives on and on and on. And it is a mystery. And it is so very precious. May all beings everywhere. Be at ease and at peace. May I, an expression of the divine, be at ease and at peace. Remember, friends, we belong here because we are here. Let's end our practice with a dedication of merit. Ooh, feeling deeply in all of the elements. I'm going to share with you a word that I learned from a book that I used to read to my kids when they were wee. And the word is Bombaloo. Bombaloo. Bombaloo is that surge of anger and fear and frustration that makes us yell and say things we regret and basically channel our inner monster, sometimes cause harm, sometimes say things that we can't take back, sometimes do things that we can't undo. Bombaloo. That's what happens. And it's scary to feel so deeply. And there are a couple of ways to look at that. One is to keep our focus on the problems. And sometimes that's really important to discern and to learn. But we can hyperfixate there. And so the other alternative is to make some effort to practice mindfulness, to concentrate, to really examine the conditions of our own lives. Those are the elements, the last four elements of the Noble Eightfold Path. And we fold that all together in a practice. And then with more practice, we can hold our problems, even transform our problems, witness the problems in others, and bring healing. That's the extraordinary nature and meaning to this practice. Not everybody has access to it, so we dedicate our effort out into the world. Your friends and family, your co-workers, strangers you encounter. May all who encounter you, an expression of the divine, be blessed. As you step into the elements of this life, may you take notice of the way they delight in you and your presence. May you be blessed. As a community and as one spirit, may we continue to endeavor to awaken from the causes and conditions of suffering, and may we help dispel the misery in this world. Thank you, friends. Have a wonderful evening. Namaste.